Whereas big pharma has people relying on medications, the mental health industry has people relying on their diagnosis. So I just want to push you to pay attention to whether or not you are attaching yourself to something that you have been diagnosed with.
I'm like the modern day Garvey, my mission is specific. Get a mic and represent the African party. Yeah, I'm like the modern day Tubman, the only difference I won't lead them underground. We got to run up in public. Yeah.
You are not your diagnosis. I repeat, you are not your diagnosis. Far too often, I am seeing people create their entire identity around something that they may have been diagnosed with, whether that's depression, ADHD, autism, um, bipolar disorder, any, you're not your disorder. You're not your disorder. You are not your disorder. I am one of those people who pay attention to trends and I just pay attention. And just like how I don't fully trust big pharma, I also don't fully trust the mental health industry. I feel like the mental health industry can do just as much damage as big pharma. Whereas big pharma has people relying on medications, the mental health industry has people relying on their diagnosis. So I just want to push you to pay attention to whether or not you are attaching yourself to something that you have been diagnosed with. For example, um, for a long time, I used to refer to my see, I just was about to do it. I used to refer to having ADHD and being neurodivergent. I used to refer to it as like my ADHD. And I still do it. And it's something that I am doing my best to unlearn simply because I want to stay aware of my language and how I use my words. If I continue to say my ADHD, my anxiety, my depression, I am coming to it into agreement with that thing. And that's not the reality that I want to live. That's not the reality that I think anybody really wants to live. There's having the language to understand what it is that you're dealing with, and then there is completely attaching yourself to that thing. Yes, ADHD is real, anxiety is real, depression is real. All of these things are real. However, I genuinely feel that these things are spiritual, and with enough work, you can learn to work with the thing. You can learn to overcome the thing. You can learn to not necessarily live with the thing, but like you can learn to exist with these symptoms or these cases coming about and know what to do when you feel that energy becoming present. For a long time, I dealt with depression in a way where I victimized myself. And every time I felt depressed, like that was just the reason for everything going wrong in my life. When in reality, I needed to learn how to pinpoint when the energy was becoming present in my life and pivot and do the things that I needed to do to overcome depression. It is possible to live a life outside of your diagnosis, all while being aware of what it is that you have or what it is that they say that you have. There's an entire industry that banks on people believing that they are sick physically and mentally, but everything is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. And when you are spiritually healthy, you can become physically and mentally healthy. I'm going to leave it at that right now. I'll go into detail in another video, but I just really wanted to tell somebody that you are not your diagnosis. Start to look into how you can overcome your diagnosis. You are not your diagnosis. There is a life outside of what they say you have and who they say you are. Okay? I love you. I mean it. Mwah.